Among a few other points of emphasis, head coach Pete Carroll of the Seattle Seahawks emphasizes and likes to focus on a couple of things: running the football, playing solid and sound defense, and minimizing turnovers, so ball security. Now, for Seattle's second-round selection, the second-round selection at 41st overall out of Michigan State in Ken Walker, one of college football's Heisman Trophy Award finalists from last season. He's absolutely going to love this fella. I mean, he doesn't play on both sides of the football, and he does bring two of those three things to the table in a very positive and impactful way. Obviously, at running back, running the football and taking care of the football. Last season at Michigan State, this dude had 263 carries and only had one fumble. That's right. If you didn't hear me, I'm going to say it again. 263 carries, only one fumble. Pete Carroll's absolutely going to love this young fella, as not only is he arguably the best running back in the class, according to Pro Football Focus, and your guys' favorite NFL analyst, by the way, Chris Sims. I know some disagree. I'm not saying he's necessarily consensus or the RB1 coming out of this past draft class. I think Breece Hall definitely has a solid case to be made, but Ken Walker, either way, he's either first or second. Not a bad place to be in, right? But like I said, and if you look at the past 5 seasons, Seattle's finished no worse than 11th in turnover differential. Now, that stat is kind of cherry-picked. That stat is kind of inflated due to the fact that Russell Wilson obviously was the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks in those last 5 seasons, and he obviously has a tendency not to turn the football over, not to throw interceptions, and so I get it. At the same time, as we all know, not turning the football over is conducive to winning football games, and so if Ken Walker is going to bring that dynamic ability as a running back, and at the same time, he's not going to fumble the ball or turn the ball over, man, even more of a slam dunk, even more of a home run pick by the Seattle Seahawks. We previously covered Tariq Woolen and Boye Mafe. Please, you guys, if you're new to this channel, welcome to the family. Welcome to the Team Steezy family. I'm your host, Calvin Domingo, aka Steezy A. Smith. And if for some reason you guys aren't already subscribed, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, as we are on the road to 4K. Or if you want to wait until I drop some facts, some hidden gems, stats, and whatnot, then wait till the end of the video. But please be sure to don't forget to hit that subscribe. Also, be sure to leave us a like, drop a comment, and let us know your thoughts. We are going to be covering Kobe Bryant after this, and so if you guys have any sort of suggestions on who you would like to see after Kobe Bryant and after this, obviously, Ken Walker episode, then let your voices be heard down below. One more thing and a reminder, if you guys aren't already, please also be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, as we have been working very diligently to provide content and updates, not just in the NFL and Seahawks world, but also obviously the NBA world, the Miami Heat world, the baseball and the Mariners world, all those, the entire sports world for that matter. And so be sure to give us a follow on there and send us a DM if you want to hop on a live show. I know it's been a while, but I will be scheduling a live show, or at least more of a roundtable type of episode real soon. Without further ado, y'all, let's hop right into it, shall we?
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the.
If you guys tuned into our NFL draft show from about a couple of months ago, I had, oh my gosh, a dream team. Voices of the Seahawks. I had Michael Sean Dugar of The Athletic. I had Corbin Smith of Sports Illustrated. We had Michael Bumpus, who works for the Seahawks. Obviously, he's now the host of his own show on the Seattle Sports Station with Stacey Ross, Bump, and Stacy. Be sure to tune in, y'all, if you guys haven't already. I love that show. Listen to it on the regular. Love those two. NorCam, my brother Squabo says. I had Guru's Film Room. I had everybody on that show. But if you guys paid attention and listened to what Michael Sean Dugar was saying at the beginning, he was spitting facts. Now, Ken Walker could have been the best running back in the class, but at the end of the day, it's just not the best allocation of resources, right, to select a running back in the second round because of positional value. I get it. That's a valid and a solid point, especially when considering the fact that Rashad Penny, about almost half of his production came last year, and he's been in the NFL for 4 years. Obviously, injuries have played a part into his unavailability on the football field, but we just can't rely on Rashad Penny and Seattle to stay healthy. Chris Carson, on the other hand, there was a surgeon by the name of Dr. Jesse Morse who uploaded an x-ray of Chris Carson's neck, and it looked bad. Chris Carson, my brother, man, we are looking out for your health. And please, I just don't know if it's the right thing to return to the NFL, not just this season, but ever, especially if the neck damage is going to be permanent and is going to look like that for the foreseeable future. I'm sorry, but I just don't think that Seattle fans should expect Chris Carson to come back. Now, not only is running the football a part of Seattle's identity offensively, but there was also a need, because Rashad Penny obviously can't rely on him. Chris Carson might never play football again. Travis Homer and DJ Dallas are more third down / pass catching type of running backs. And so I thought that the need for a Ken Walker was even more massive. Now, it came to me as a surprise that Seattle did end up taking a Ken Walker, as I did hear Breece Hall kind of come up last minute before the Jets ended up trading up for him. But with the Ken Walker, I mean, you're getting a running back that's a do-it-all type of running back. Not only can he break ankles, he could break tackles. He's powerful, he's elusive, he's very fast. Now, he's about my height at about 5'9", but he's 211 pounds. Like, this guy is built, he's compact, and he ran a 4.38 40-yard dash. Now, he might not be the supreme athlete that other running backs are, but yo, I don't think he needs to be. I mean, just look at some of the highlights from last year. Like I talked about at the top of the show, he was a Heisman Trophy finalist. He finished 6th, if I'm not mistaken, and he also had 18 rushing touchdowns. Like, yo, in his first year at Michigan State, coming over from Wake Forest, I mean, this guy absolutely put on a show. But he also was the best running back in football last year. According to Pro Football Focus, he broke 89 tackles, which led all of college football. 89 tackles? And, yo, I'm not trying to compare the games, but I think that with the Ken Walker, he's going to bring the same sort of consistency and the fact that he's a guy that you can rely upon. And we haven't seen this since Marshawn Lynch, since beast mode in Seattle. Now, I know he did kind of come back for a last hurrah back in 2019, but I'm talking about his prime years. And so Seattle hasn't had that sort of stability at running back. Now, Chris Carson did have a couple of seasons in which he had 1,100 plus yards. He finished in the top 5 in the NFL in rushing. But like I talked about, you just can't expect and rely on him to stay healthy. Ken Walker, I think, is a different story. Not only is he durable, but he's also a guy that you can count on to secure the ball and not turn the football over and not fumble the rock. Did you guys know that at Michigan State, prior to Ken Walker's arrival, Michigan State was actually bottom 5 in the entire country in yards per carry? After his arrival, top 25 in yards per carry in the entire country. Sheesh, talk about a dramatic turnaround. Like I talked about at Wake Forest, and this is according to Pro Football Focus, by the way, these are their words, but he was a relative unknown, and then after one season became arguably the best running back in football, in college football, led the Michigan State Spartans to an 11-2 record? What? He was second in the FBS with 1,636 rushing yards and 8th in the FBS with 18 rushing touchdowns on 6.2 yards per carry and on, once again, 263 carries with only 1 fumble. Like I talked about, he's an all-around back. He's going to break tackles. He's going to break ankles. He's powerful. He's compact. He's built. He has the speed at 4.38, and when it comes to his acceleration in the open field, I think he's able to turn it up a notch and really just hit another gear, especially when he hits the second level and once he's in the open field. There's just no way anybody's going to catch up to him. And so I think as far as straight line speed, he might not be the fastest running back in the NFL, but as far as being able to accelerate faster than other guys, I mean, Ken Walker, my goodness, I think he's really second to none. He's also very elusive. I mean, like we talked about, led all of college football with 89 broken tackles. And I think really the highlight of his ability to evade and break tackles came against Miami. This guy had 20 broken tackles in one game against Miami, 172 yards on 27 carries. And so he had just 7 broken tackles less than carries on 172 yards against Miami. Did y'all see that game against Michigan? 195 rushing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. I mean, yo, this guy's talent is absolutely undeniable. And so Seattle, I think they got a home run. I'm sorry, Michael Sean Dugar. I'm sorry, big bruh, but forget the whole positional value thing. If Rashad Penny is unable to stay healthy, if Chris Carson can never return to the NFL because of his neck injury, then Seattle has their bell cow for the next, 5, 6, 7, 10 years? I mean, he's going to be the most consistent and best running back for Seattle since Marshawn Lynch. And so, again, I'm not trying to make that comparison because their games are so much different. But as far as being able to run after contact, right? I mean, yo, this guy's absolutely electric. He has legit home run speed. He was actually tied for first in all of college football last year in amount of carries that went for 15 plus yards with 30 such carries. I mean, yo, if that's not an indicator of how dynamic, how electric, how fast he is in the open field, then I don't know what is. He just has such a good feel for the game. I mean, his cutback ability, I think, again, that's second to none. I think he's a lot better than Breece Hall in that regard. Man, I sound like a broken record, but he's just so elusive, and it's crazy because he's also so powerful, and it's crazy because he's also so fast. So I think, obviously, outside of his contributions in the pass game, which we will touch on just shortly, he brings it all to the table as a running back. That's why it's easy to project him as a bell cow at the next level. I mean, this guy just gets better as the game progresses. The start-stop suddenness is there. The versatility is there. He can play in any scheme. And I think to his benefit, especially at Michigan State, they ran a pro-style offense. There was a lot of zone and gap concepts, and so I think coming over to the NFL, the transition in that regard isn't going to be nearly as difficult as it is for other running backs that haven't played in pro-style concepts and systems in college. Now, in comparison to some of the other running backs that came out of this past draft class, we're talking about Isaiah Spiller, we're talking about Breece Hall. And shout out to Samuel Gold, by the way. Be sure to check him out on YouTube. He has great breakdowns and analysis. He definitely knows his football, but shout out to him. Ken Walker was actually number 1 in missed tackle rate at 33.1%. The average, if you're curious, was 20.4%. Isaiah Spiller was second from Texas A&M at 33%, and Breece Hall is third on that same list at 31.3%. And now it's starting to make sense. Not only do we see it on film, but statistically as well. This guy is just so elusive to the point where I don't think it's near impossible to damn near break this guy or bring this guy down, especially in the open field. Now, going back to what I talked about earlier, the flaws. The one serious flaw in his game. I'm not as worried about his hands. I think he actually has great hands coming out of the backfield. He had 18 career catches in college, 13 of which came last season. He had 0 drops. And so I know the volume wasn't there, but 0 drops, I think that definitely speaks for something and speaks to his ability to be able to at least catch the football out of the backfield. But 2 things I want to touch on. There's a reason why his route tree was so limited. Outside of running little flats and wheel routes and outs and whatnot, just, the small short stuff, he just wasn't very versatile as a route runner, hence why his route tree was limited. But in addition to that, his impact, his effectiveness just has got to be a lot better if he wants to be on the field all 3 downs. It's not that he's not adept as a pass blocker. I just think he doesn't put forth the most amount of effort when it comes to pass blocking, especially against the blitz. I mean, sometimes you'll see him just not try or not even look to get involved, not even look to be very engaged in the action. And I get it. I mean, he was running the rock so much, like, okay, you'll get tired from here and there, but at the NFL level, if you want to be on the field on 3rd downs, I mean, showcase your ability to catch the football out of the backfield, but you're not going to be able to do that if you're not going to be able to hold up, especially against blitzes. So Ken Walker, that's definitely something I want to see him work on. And now some people might point to low totals and say, oh, it's still 13 catches. Like, you can talk about a limited route tree. He still wasn't catching footballs. I think that's also kind of on the scheme, kind of on the system. I mean, look at some of the other running backs in that system. It's not like other guys in that same running back room were catching the football at a higher rate. It wasn't like that. It's just the way that the offense was set up. They just weren't targeting running backs in the passing game. As simple as that. For me, I'm also in love with the fact that Michigan State, relatively speaking, of course, had one of the worst offensive lines, especially as it pertained to opening up holes in the run game. Ken Walker, we can tell that he's just going to be a great running back in the NFL because of his ability to kind of compensate for the lack of a consistent and reliable offensive line attack in Michigan State. I think, to me, that's very indicative of a running back's talent if he's able to still be able to create yards after contact and still be able to run and really create something out of nothing. I think in Seattle, that's definitely something that's going to be, in Seattle especially, that's something he's going to get praised for. Because in Seattle, I mean, in years past, we've seen offensive lines, they haven't been the best. And there have been plenty of negative runs in the past. I think with the Ken Walker, his ability to create something out of nothing, it's really, again, second to none. So I'm able to kind of attribute that more to his talent, more so than the offensive line or even the scheme. He's just that good. One more thing that I do like as it pertains to his outlook in the NFL. Ken Walker only has 479 career carries entering the NFL. Now, for a guy that's set to be a bell cow, I think that's a good number. He hasn't even eclipsed 500 career or collegiate carries. Now, with a guy like, I know he was drafted a couple years ago, but with Jonathan Taylor, for example, he had so much mileage, coming out of college. And so I'm not saying he's going to break down or anything like that, but I think with the Ken Walker, he doesn't have nearly as much mileage going into the NFL. And so I think that's definitely going to help him moving forward. He profiles as an elite NFL producer, according to Pro Football Focus, and with Seattle now focusing on the offensive line, the identity is to run the football. I don't think that his struggles, especially in pass protection, I don't think the light is really going to shine nearly as bright on his inabilities, especially in the pass protection aspect, because Seattle has an identity, and that part of the identity is smash mouth football, running the football. I don't think his weaknesses in pass protection is going to be as magnified, especially if Seattle's, they might just lead the NFL in rushing attempts and rushing next season. And so if that's going to be the case, I think he's going to have time to be able to work on his inabilities and issues in pass protection. So I think he landed in the perfect situation, landed on the perfect team. They had a need for him, and he's going to ball out. I wouldn't be surprised if he rushes for over 1,000 yards next season. And Seattle's, if they're better than people expect, he'll be a big reason why. For the man formerly known as Kenneth Walker, if you aren't already aware, then get with the program. The name is Ken Walker, and y'all better remember it because in Seattle, he's going to be tearing apart defenses. And if Rashad Penny can stay healthy, the Seattle Seahawks football team could be a lot better than most people expect. And once hopefully Seattle tabs and nabs a quarterback from next year's draft, ooh boy, I don't think anybody's going to look back at the Ken Walker selection and question the positional value of that pick. That marks the end of this episode, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please, if you learned something today, be sure to hit that subscribe button for us. Also, leave us a like, drop a comment. If you guys have any suggestions on who you want to see after we break down Kobe Bryant after this episode, let your voices be heard down below. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Steezy A. Smith. We've covered Tariq Woolen. We've covered Boye Mafe. We've covered Ken Walker. I know we've been dropping these pretty slowly. We are also dropping a bunch of NBA content on this channel. But stay tuned, y'all, and stay patient. As I always say, all glory to God. Amen. Nothing but love, and Steezy out. Again, this video is going to be dedicated to Mr. Todd Nas. While that concludes this video, we have loads of other content. You don't have to stop watching there. Other content on our channel homepage, as well as our social media platforms. And again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for us. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Nothing but love, and Steezy out.